ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Vobes show. Yes, I'm Richard Vobes, the host of the Vobes show, live on Facebook at 8 o'clock weekdays. Today, Thursday, the 31st of May 2018. An absolutely lovely day. Well, lovely day for me. I don't know what it's been like for you. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe you'll tell us how your day has been and what you've been getting up to. I often tell you the sort of things that I've been getting up to, but what about you? Have you done anything spectacular today? Something to write home about? Maybe you've been writing a postcard for the old Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi for the Vobes show for our wonderful postcard Hall of Fame. Maybe you've been doing that. Maybe you've just had a boring day, you've gone to work and you've done your usual kind of nonsense, and actually you've not had a good day. Maybe you want to vent about that. That's okay. You can vent about that. Maybe you've had a mad day where you've been punting up the river in Oxford. Who knows? You've been punting there, taking your mother out to see some, I don't know, a hippopotamus. Maybe you've been watching some Reggie Perrin. I don't know what you've been up to. Maybe you've been having fun. But yes, I've had a good day today. Was actually supposed to be going out with lovely Colin Brown, who's been posting in the Bald Explorer Facebook group a lot. He does these amazing photographs. I think he uses a drone up in the sky, and he takes these pictures. Somehow he brings them into into Photoshop or some such other editing software is available, and he does something to it, some quirky magic that he does. He conjures up the colours and makes them vibrant and exciting. And then he posts these pictures we'll see one actually in the Bald Explorer Facebook group. When we get over to the group pictures, we'll see one of those. Anyway, I was supposed to be seeing him today, but unfortunately the weather proved a bit grim and disastrous, so I'm actually going to do it tomorrow. But I want to find out how he does it and makes these amazing pictures. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Vobes show live. If you're watching on YouTube, this obviously is a rerun. You might be watching on Facebook on a shared account somewhere else, who knows? And if that's the case, well, you're very welcome. Don't forget, you can join us at 8 o'clock British summertime, Monday to Friday, every day. Sometimes we're in Regency townhouses, sometimes we're in allotments. And sometimes I have wonderful, beautiful guests, and sometimes I don't have anybody whatsoever. So it's sort of pot luck. Today, I'm afraid the penny has gone on the bad side, and you've just got me. But never mind. Let's see if there's actually anybody out there watching, and we'll see what we can do. So hello to Emily Champion. It's lovely to have you back. Terry Wood, Andrew Graham, Pam Earnshaw, Maggie Walters, Jason Beeching, Andy Ash, Jane Ansley, Kushti Phil, Elaine Brazier, said him, Andy Ash, Carol Homewood. She says, I've been exploring in an old I've been exploring in an old slippers bath building, looking for remnants of the past in an old slippers bath. A slipper? You'll have to explain what that is, Carol, because I'm maybe I'm misreading it. I've only got one eye, you see, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm a little bit mad. Lovely June Ann Mary has just arrived. Hello, June Ann Mary. Lovely to see you. Welcome along. Jennifer Stewart here from Over the Pond. She says, I like your T-shirt. Oh, yes. This T-shirt, by the way, is a very old T-shirt. I managed to sort of find it in a bunch of old clothes because I bunged a whole load of stuff in the wash. You know what it's like when you bung stuff in the wash and then you get on and you do things and then you forget and you think, hang on a minute, I've just bunged stuff in the wash, and then you've accumulated a whole load of other stuff that needs to go washing, and you think, oh, what can I wear? I don't want to go iron a shirt. It's not really shirt wearing weather. I'll wear a T-shirt. So I happened to pull this one out, and it looks pretty good on the screen, I have to say, but actually whatever it is, the paint stuff is flaking off. So we can't have that. Danny Harris has joined. Judy Zanari. I don't know how you spell your name. Pronounce your name. I can see how you spell it. Zani. Is it Zane? From California, she says. All the way from California. It's amazing the distance that you go to come to the Vobes show every night. And it is very much appreciated. Thank you very much. Downsman Michael, he says, hello, fellow Vobesters. Hello, Michael. Lovely to see you. The lovely Julia Hartley-Neal is telling me that there's 711 members in the group. That is amazing. Thank you, Julia. That is amazing. 700. We set, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we set this idea that we would try and get 700 by the end of June. Now, June is the time, really, that I put as the end point. The end of June is, do I continue with the walks? About June last year, I started doing the daily walks. It's almost a year. And the question is, do I continue? And I need to sit and think and meditate and pontificate. There's a good word. I need to pontificate to work out whether I should continue with, whether it's worthwhile, whether there's any chance that one can continue with this and make a little bit of money to pay for it and do more exciting things. In that year, ladies and gentlemen, we've done some stuff. I don't want to reflect on it now. I don't want to make that decision now. You don't have to make that decision now. We've got another month. We've got another mini adventure to go on in June. At the end of June, I shall be going to the Forest of Dean. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. But yeah, it'll be about a year. And I need to sort of think, is it worth continuing, or should I give it up and become an accountant? That's the choice. That is the choice. Now, I have no interest whatsoever in accountancy. So maybe we're already giving the game away of what the choice might be. But, I want to leave you all on tenterhooks. Those tenterhooks, they're quite hard. When you get on those tenterhooks, there's a lot of wriggle room up there, but nowhere to rest your feet. Anyway, so we won't worry about that. Kevin Hall says, yes, don't stop, you can't stop, Mr. Mannering. They don't like it up 'em. Well, we'll see. Paul Watts has joined. Maggie Walters says, I love your videos. I love your walks. I love them, love them, love them, love them. So that's very encouraging. I have to say, it's very encouraging. I almost getting the opinion that, maybe accountancy would be good. Or maybe I'm making that up. Who knows? Please don't stop, says Richard Suggett. Well, if I'm truthful, I think it's very unlikely that I will become an accountant. Very unlikely. But no, seriously, it's not so much that will I stop. That's probably not going to happen. I'm compelled. I'm absolutely compelled. Besides which, I know that Julia will be chasing after me with one of those, those big long bath sponges. Yes, one of those. I don't know what that was. A loofah. That was what I was. That was the word I was. She'll be bashing me on the head with a loofah because she's not a violent person, so she's going to use something soft. But she'll be chasing. You can't do this. You can't do this. What about all the people in the group? What about all the lovely people? You can't do it. So obviously I'm not going to stop, but what I do need to do is reappraise how the successes over the first year and the things that we did right, some of the things that we could improve on, some of the things that we've learnt from. So so in this next month there'll be a sort of, what could we do better? What would people like to see? What should we do for the future? That's really what it's going to be about. So yeah, I've already made that decision. Accountancy, it stinks. Unless, of course, you happen to be an accountant and you love it dearly. And, of course, I'm sure that your accountancy firm and everything that you do doesn't stink. But for me, as somebody who entertains, now, talking of accountancy, I'll relate a little story that the lovely Julia was a witness to today, as well as the lovely Claire Leach. Talking of numbers, yes. Mathematics, to be precise, but we'll get on to that a little bit later. So anyway, let's get on with the show. Why not? Let's get on and do something very exciting. First of all, we'll start with some wacky old music. Which is nice to hear. Anyway, so had a postcard, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Had a lovely postcard. I've just noticed I'm in sort of big close-up vision today. I'm not quite sure why that is. Oh, there we go. Here's this postcard. Look at that. That looks very nice, doesn't it? A bit of flair on there. I don't know where it is. Let's have a look to see where that is. It's Eden Valley, Craig Gloch Dam. Or Gloch. Is it? Gloch, as in Glochenspiel. I'll give you a load of spiel. It says here, to the bold explorer, Vobes Towers, Worthing, West Sussex. This is what it says. It actually says that there, look. This is where, hang on, can you see? Hang on, it's upside down. This is where it went. To the Bald Explorer, Vobes Towers, Worthing, West Sussex. It has got a postcode on there. I just think I've given that away. But anyway, it got here, ladies and gentlemen. It got here. So this was from, you probably saw that, Maggie and Robbie Walters and Dottie too. They done the test. They have done it. They've sent a postcard to Vobes Towers, Worthing. How about that? That's amazing. That is absolutely incredible. Hey, Vobes Towers, very nice place, Vobes Towers. It pokes up above the sky, does Vobes Towers. Oh, you can't miss it. You just write a postcard to the poor bugger and he'll get it, you know, nobody. Even a little dog. Woof, 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 woof. Look, there it is. Woof, woof, Vobes Towers, Vobes Towers, Vobes Towers. That's how it goes. So that's amazing. Anyway, the postcard says Richard with a crafty little smile next to it. Hang on, they printed Royal Mail all over the thing. I've got to decipher this. You would love Eden Valley. Oh, you would love Eden Valley. Is that where the Eden cheese comes from? Eden Vale cheese? Is it Eden Valley? Thanks for sharing all your fab walk, she says. Love and best wishes. She also says, please tell Robbie I love him. Tell him yourself. Do you know that they do that, don't they, on the radio? She doesn't really say that. She said, tell Robbie to put the dinner on. Oh, that's nice. Now, you know that when they say that on the radio, Steve Wright in the afternoon or someone, the love songs, and they always go, I'm ringing up on our anniversary to my dearly lovely Mary. Oh, Mary, tell Mary I love her. Tell Mary I love her. And you just think, tell her yourself. You know, she's probably upstairs lying in bed waiting for that cup of tea on the anniversary. Why don't you go up and tell her? Instead of writing to a radio station on the off chance that at that very moment you're tuning in, that they pick your blooming message, that they actually get it out. I mean, it'd be ridiculous, wouldn't it? You go, oh, Mary, it is our anniversary. Wait, Mary, I have a message for you. Just a minute. Oh, yes, boy.
Hello there and welcome to the Love Hour with me, man with a funny voice. Ha ha ha. And yes, we got a whole load of things. There's one from somebody over there, a message from Mary, but we're not going to do that one. We're going to do this one for Harry. Hey, Harry, it says, from Larry, Gary, Barry, and some other name that rhymes with Harry. It says, we love you, boy. We love you. We all love you because we're all in love with you. So, sorry, Mary, you didn't get a look in.
Because what's the chances? You see, it may not come up on the radio, and it's like, oh, I had this message for you. I wrote it specially. Hasn't come up. Sorry, I don't know where that's come from. There's a little bit of madness there. Anyway, so thank you very much for the postcard. That's going up on the thing. Now, this time I have to do it all myself because I do not have my glamorous assistant here, ladies and gentlemen. I've got to do it all myself, which is the same. Oh, apparently, latest update, 712 members. My goodness. June, by the end of June. June! Do you remember Terry and June? June! Yes, at the end, you probably don't. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes, we want 800 members by the end of June. That would really put the cat amongst the pigeons. Paul Couchman says lots of lovely things said about the lovely Julia at our volunteers meeting today. They were saying that the camera absolutely loved her. Isn't that lovely of them? It is. How lovely of them. Well, you know, the thing is, I think Julia is very lovely and she deserves as much praise as you can give her because she did look very splendid. She dressed up in all that lovely garb and she paraded herself around. She worked incredibly hard and she managed to keep the Vobie one-eyed Kenobi calm and in a fit state to work for the whole of that day. So well done, Julia. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Steve Pilford says, postman must think you're got a flipping load of friends on holiday sending the cards. Do you know, the other day, it's funny you should say that because the other day the sun was shining. I was sitting outside on my step. I know that sounds like very old-fashioned, doesn't it? That sounds very... I was sitting on my step. Well, I live in a terraced house, ladies and gentlemen. I live in an old-fashioned terraced house in quite a busy street, and it's south-facing. The front is south-facing. So I don't get any sunshine in the garden. So if I want to get any sunshine, I have to sit outside on the little wall or on my step. So I was sitting there on my step reading this book, and the postman, he did come along, and there was no letters whatsoever except a postcard. I forget which one it was now. It was a while back. And he'd obviously delivered a number of them, and he did give me a bit of a strange smile, a sort of wry smile, as he sort of went, yeah, mate, you're popular, aren't you? Because there can't be that many people who are sending postcards, and there can't be that many people who are sending postcards to the same person from different parts of the world. So, Steve, you're quite right. It is a strange thing. So there we go. Malcolm Glacier says, hello, sorry I'm a little late. That's all right, Malcolm, we'll let you off on this time. And so that's good. What else have we got? Alan Piddington says we need a bigger board. Yes, we do need a bigger board. We absolutely do. Richard has been sitting on the naughty step. No, it's not the naughty step, Robert Peterson. It's only naughty if it's raining outside and I'm stuck out there. It's usually because I've forgotten my key and there's nobody else in the house and I've got to sit there all on my lonesome Todson. Dean Abbott has joined, which is very nice. Thank you very much, Dean. Now, I've got to just quickly put this on the board. So whilst I do that, let's put some putting it on the board music on. Incidentally, I will change this music and get some other music. I've got some other music all lined up, ready to do, but it's just, one of those things I continually forget. So just bear with me. There we go. I hope you can see that all right. It's lovely. There we are. Marvellous. Isn't that lovely? So there we go. Marvellous. We're all getting on very well. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let us move on swiftly because there's lots of things to talk about in today's show. Oh, I've been sitting here planning it for hours. Hours and hours. Yes, indeed. So next up, I've got to thank the wonderful... Now, I've had this problem with his name for a while, but we've got that sorted. You just got to think of Baloo and music, and you end up with Baloozic. Yes. So, who is it? Jonathan Baloozic. I think that's right. Anyway, he has been working, as we said, in the show yesterday. We'll talk a bit about the show yesterday in a moment. But he's been working on some publicity stuff for us. Now, the Vobes show, this is this. And he said, you know what? You need a new look, you need a new design, but you need something that incorporates it with the Bald Explorer so people who want the wacky from the Baldy still get it. And I thought, yeah, that makes sense. Well done, Jonathan. That's very good. He's a very intelligent bloke. So he has come up with a design, and I thought I would show you. In fact, he's come up with many designs, and I thought I would show you, which is why I'm wearing this. This is the old Richard Vobes radio show. When I started with my lovely daughter back in the day, back in 2005 on the became the Vobes Show podcast, as opposed to this now, which is the webcast, which is, even more sexier and chocolatey, as I'm sure you'll agree. It's that lovely sexy moustache that I have, and those, wonderful earrings that I wear, and the tattoos, and the chain, and the medallion, and the big afro that I love to wear. All of that makes it this new sexy chocolatey show. If you can't see that, it's a bit like the Emperor's clean trousers. I nearly said underpants then, but I don't think the Emperor has got any underpants on whatsoever. Anyway, where am I going with that? Oh, yeah, so we're going to give it... So when I started, I had the Richard Vobes radio show, and we just had this sort of very basic thing. It says, back then, it said what it did on the tin. So we wanted something new. The Vobes show now is something different, and also perhaps a look for the Bald Explorer as well. So have a look at these and see what you think. Be interested in your thoughts. So as you can see, we've got a number of designs for the front end of the webcam show. We've got the Vobes show there with the old bald head and glasses, which I have to say looks very good. I quite like that one. Then on the right, you've got the Bald Explorer for any sort of live shows that we might do. Like the Regency Townhouse sort of thing. Discovering Britain, one video at a time, which is a great little slogan I invented some while ago. And then underneath you've got perhaps two more wackier ones. The Vobes Show, which is rather good. And the bottom right there, the Bald Explorer Group. That's one with a group. So be interested in what you think. For me, simplicity is the key. I like simple things, so I'll be interested in your thoughts on that. I'll put it up again in a minute, so do let me know which one you favour. So if we say, just be curious to do a quick, instant poll. So if we say top left is 1, and we go clockwise around the screen, so the Vobes show there, top left is 1. Number 2 would be the Bald Explorer, Discovering Britain, one thing on the right there. Then we go to the bottom. I said I was going clockwise, wouldn't I? So number 3 would be the Bald Explorer Group 1, and then the final one is the Vobes show in that sort of jazzy maze-like with the yellow font. So there we go. So we'll call those 1, 2, 3 going clockwise around the screen, starting at the Vobes show at the top left. So if that makes any sense, that would be good. Let me know what you think on that. It may change, but it'll be just interesting. Bottom left is proper old school, says Steve Pilfold. The retrospective T-shirt for Richard. Thank you very much. Somebody said 1. Andy Ash says 4. Look at that. Richard Suggett says 2. Emily Champion says 2 and 4. So that's quite interesting. There's a whole massive difference opinion. So actually this has been of no use whatsoever because you're all giving me different numbers. And if you'd all said one of the numbers, we would have had a clear winner. Maggie Walters likes number 2 and 3. 2 and 3 seems to be a favourite. Jurgen Tad Dickens says 4. Tom Crawford says number 1. Paul Hine. This is great, isn't it? We must do a bit more of this sort of nonsense. 1, 3, 4 and 4 says Paul Hine. 1, 3, 4. So it almost said 1, 2, 3 and 4 then, Paul. Nearly had it completely fused. 1, there's a lot of numbers here. So there we go. Look at that. It's marvellous. Tom Crawford 1 and 2.5. What? 1, 4. Alan Pinner is going 4, 2, 3, 1. Right. Yeah, Julia's saying, don't be daft, you silly man. We might need to do a poll on the group for a better idea. Yes, that would be good. So if Jonathan, I don't know if Jonathan is there, but if Jonathan, you could send a copy, or maybe I can send a copy of it to... I'll send it to Julia. Perhaps Julia can put it on the Bald Explorer page or the group page with a poll. And that would be very... when I say a poll... Yeah, you know, we got it right. We're not talking about the nationality. Yeah, just making sure, just making absolutely certain. So there we go. Okay, you can stop your numbers now. Thank you. Enough with the numbers already. We've had enough of those numbers. That's lovely. Thank you very much. Good. Well, anyway, things are going on, and I should also say we did mention yesterday. Did you see the show yesterday? Wasn't it great? Wasn't it great? There we were in a jungle. We were in Richard Suggett's jungle, his own personal jungle. I was very relieved that he was wearing clothes, although he did give us the builder's bum a few times, just for a bit of a laugh. Obviously keeping in that theme that he's got going there with his show, which is very kind of him. But he did feed us, so a big thank you. In all seriousness, a big thank you to Richard Suggett for making us incredibly welcome, cooking for us, and looking after us on his allotment in Littlehampton. It was a great success. Everybody seemed to love it. I've only had about 16 different emails and postcards of hate mail, so that's pretty good going for me. Actually, I've not had any complaints or anything like that, which is marvellous. Only from Linda Kane, of course, who said you didn't give us exact location because she would have been up there and scoffed the beef burgers for us. So it was a good job we didn't actually tell her where we were, because she obviously was very hungry and we wouldn't have had anything. But anyway, no, it's all done. So thank you, Richard. It was marvellous. So we are actually looking forward to try and find other venues to go and take the Vobes show or the Bald Explorer Live, whichever version we decide to do, depending on the theme of it. If it's a madcap kind of show, obviously the Vobes show. If it's more like the Regency Town thing, we'll do it more under the sort of the Bald Explorer, because that's more heritage and countryside, and you know what I'm saying. Sorry, I've got itchy nose. I don't know why. So anyway, so that's. But we said yesterday, what I wanted to get onto, we said yesterday, Jonathan Beluzik said that he's sorted out the shop and he's got all these things organised. So we're hoping that next week, one day next week, we'll get Jonathan on. We will launch the shop. Now, this isn't run by us. This is run by a third party, as he said yesterday. We'll launch the shop and you'll be able to order those things, various different things, and it will be interesting. What would be great is if anybody does, and I'm not expecting you all to do that, because everybody's entitled not to do these things. But if anybody does buy anything, sorry, really itchy nose there. Look at that. That's because my fingers are going up it all the time. A lot of midges flying. Oh, there's no midges in here at all. I've got no excuse. So if anybody does buy anything, it would be great if they can send a photograph, because it would be lovely to see that you've got the merchandise and how it looks on you, so that others can see that sort of thing. Here is Jonathan himself with a Bald Explorer mug, which he had done as an experiment. So what do you think about that? Slight pause as I just had a drink of water. It is PLJ, not TLJ. You can't drink her, but... PLJ is pure lemon juice. It's very nice, but I just need it. My throat, I don't know why, my throat is very dry this evening. So I'm just having a bit of a drinky poos on that. But there we go. That mug is not currently available. That was a test. We were testing out, I think that was with Vistaprint, just to see what it's like. But is Jonathan out there? Is he out there anywhere? Because if he is, it'd be interesting to know what the quality of the print was like. What type of pizza have you gone for, says Julia. Oh, so Julia's in the middle of cooking pizza, which is great. Tom Crawford is still doing the numbers. Uno, duo, tre, cuatro, which is, I imagine, is Spanish. Half and half, says Julia. I think she's talking about pizza, not the publicity. They're talking about hot and spicy. Do you like hot and spicy pizzas? It'd be interesting. I like the mug. Pretty cool, says Jennifer. Nice mug. Everyone's saying nice mug. I've not seen him, so he's not out there. Anyway, so I'm interested to know what the quality is. If he comes in, if you spot him coming in, sneaking in, ask him what the quality was of the mug. Perhaps the pollen is getting to you today. Yes, it could be. I don't normally suffer with hay fever, but I understand that it's not something you're born with, that you can get hay fever at any time. Andrew Leach says, I've just marked the maths homework you did today. You got 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10? So, ladies and gentlemen, I better tell you the story. 4 out of 10? So, okay. So, Claire Leach and Andrew Leach have, or had, a willow tree in their back garden. And it was a lovely and delightful... I ought to have some sort of sob story music here for this. It was a beautiful and lovely a willow tree in their back garden. Beautiful, beautiful. And they loved it. They adored it. They went out and they worshipped it every morning. Every morning before work, before they went to bed, they worshipped it. They put one hand on the side of this tree and they said, Willow, Willow, you are lovely, or words to that effect. And then they would share an embrace, not with the tree, with each other, and they would kiss under the boughs of the willow tree, and the willow would feel delightful and raise up its drooping little branches. This is all true. Claire told me this afternoon. She told me the whole 9 yards, she told me. And everyone would be happy. But of course, the willow tree, lifting up its boughs like this, was cutting out the light from all the neighbours. And the neighbours were horrible, nasty people with big, horrible spectacles and big, bushy eyebrows and horrible dented lines on their forehead with mean, sinister, hooded, black, cowling robes, and they were pretty grim, nasty people, all surrounding some sort of cult, I believe. And they didn't like this tree, and they kept chanting in the middle of the night, cut the willow, cut the willow. And poor Claire Leach would go to her window and peer out and see them there with their red candles and their piercing eyes, and the whole group of them with these horrible luminous cows that would light up as they're chanting, cut the willow, cut the willow. And poor Claire Leach would be in tears, and Andrew would put his arms around her and say, oh, it's so sad, it's so sad. Oh, if only our daughter doing the mathematics homework would come down and meet the lovely Julia and the lovely Richard Vobes, it would be all right. But no, she won't come down. She won't come out of her bedroom. It's a terrible thing. So what we'll have to do is we must cut the willow. And as much as everybody in the neighbourhood that liked the willow said, don't cut the willow, for God's sake, don't cut the willow, please don't cut the willow, they reluctantly had to, because these chanting monk-like people were just carrying on all through the night. Some of them had megaphones going, cut the willow, please, will you cut the... Hello, this is the police. You are surrounded. If you don't cut the willow down, you will be taken to prison and you'll be serving 13 months imprisonment. I'm sorry, but that's the way the law is. If you don't cut the willow down, you've had it. So they had to relent, and they sadly they cut the willow down, and the people who came and cut the willow down took most of the willow, and they left a few little solitary lumps of wood. Not enough wood there to light a fire, but Claire thought, well, rather than stick 'em in the bin, I'll ring up the old Vobie, one-eyed Kenobi, and see if he would take it away for us, because we can't be bothered to go down the dump with them. Maybe he'll come all the way over from Worthing, she thought. And then there was a longer bit, a bit like a walking stick that had been just cast aside, and she said, oh, maybe I can give that to the lovely Julia. We'll tell her that it'll put it in water and the roots will come out. Some such nonsense like that, she said. And the lovely Julia was there with her eyes all wide and her purple hair all flowing, going, oh, amazing. Yes, I would love to have that bit of old ropey old stick that's just fallen off the willow tree, and I'll follow your advice. So, of course, this is what happened. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I picked up the lovely Julia, took her son over to where Claire Leach lives in Saltdean or somewhere, and we managed to get over there, and Claire gave us this sob story about this tree and all that, and then gave us these manky old bits of wood that she couldn't be bothered to take down to the dump or hurl at the milkman for giving her gold top instead of silver top, whatever it is. So we did our duty, we did our public duty, and took this wood away from her. I'm just looking now to see if they're actually. Anyway, so the point is, while we were there taking this load of old nonsense away, Claire then went on to say, "Oh, it's so sad. Our daughter, she can't do the maths homework. What are we going to do? Calamity, calamity." She said. She stood up, with her hand cast like this, cast asunder on her damp brow. Absolutely, every word of this is true, by the way. Every word of it is true. Julia was writing it down verbatim, and that's what I've been reading on these notes here. And so the Claire was like this, swooning, panting very, very, very lightly, barely taking any breath. We had the smelling salts at the ready in case she lost consciousness. "Oh, the homework," she said. "The homework. What am I to do? Oh!" Beads of perspiration were flowing down her head like that, and dribbling all over the funny purple carpet that she's got on her floor there. And poor little Elijah was going, "Oh, get real, get a life. Come on, for goodness sake, pull yourself together," in between playing on his tablet and using the internet and all that kind of stuff. So then Claire said, "If only there was somebody here who could do the homework for my daughter, it would be fine." So I said, "Oh, don't worry. I haven't been to school for many, many years, several 100,000 years. I will have a look at it, Claire. I will do my best." I got down on my stomach, ladies and gentlemen, no word of a lie. I got down on my stomach with a pen and piece of paper, and for at least 3.5 hours, I mulled over the first question. Another 4 hours, I got the second question, and so on and so forth. The whole afternoon disappeared. The sun went up and down several times. In fact, it came back and said, "Haven't you finished it yet?" Then it shot off one more time. And in the end, I did these 10 questions. I did all 10 of them. And there was only a couple I couldn't understand because that's all in modern language. But the others, I thought I'd got absolutely right. And Andrew Leach has the audacity to say that I only got 4 out of 10. 4? Did I really only get 4 out of 10? That is terrible. I may have embellished that story somewhat because, to be honest with you, Claire Leach is a lovely, lovely lady, and she made us incredibly welcome. She made us lovely cups of tea, and all that nonsense with the willow tree might have been somewhat invented. I think Julia wrote that down verbatim, slightly wrong. I'll have to have words with her. But, yeah, we did take the wood away, and we only got 4 out of 10. That's it. That's a bit of... Julia says, "I'm missing the bulk of this epic saga." Yes. Anyway, shouldn't have thrown it away, Vobes, says Emily. I'm not quite sure what you're saying. In stuck between "this is amazing" and "this is 10 minutes of my life that I will never get back." Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, this is how sometimes the show works. Emily Champion says, "That's accountancy out the window then." Yes, I'm not likely to... Not likely to get the accountancy job anymore. I thought Claire was doing a very clever ruse. I thought Claire was going to employ me at this firm that she does, where she works for the council or something, and I thought they needed a new accountant, and so I thought this was actually the test that I was due to do, but it turns out that isn't the test that I was due to do. It was actually her daughter's homework. Claire Leach says, "Question 1, you added up extra 2 into the adding up." Yeah, well, I've only got one eye, you see, so sometimes the figures, they jostle about a bit, and I was making up by imagining if I had an extra eye, that would be 2 eyes, so I added the 2 to that. That's only fair, isn't it? I think you're being a bit harsh on me there. What did I get wrong with question number 2? I'm sure question number 2 I got right. I may not have done. Anyway... Elizabeth is falling asleep. Oh, she's Elaine, rather. Elizabeth, I nearly called you. Elaine is snoozing. Sorry about that, Elaine. Are you having a good snooze? All right, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll go and have a look and see what the group have done, because Elaine has been busy in the group. This will wake her up. Elaine has been busy in the group taking pictures. What does she say? Emily says, "Do you use Bodmus?" I don't know what Oh, sorry, music's just started. Bodmas? What's Bodmas? I've no idea. Twos and Ones was a great coffee shop in Soho, says Tom Crawford. And Malcolm Glazier is referring the top tutor. Anyway, who knows? Apparently we've got 730. I don't know what I've done, but now we have 713 people. So, Elaine, wake up. Wake up, Elaine. For goodness sake, stop snoozing. It's outrageous. Right, okay. Let us go into the group and see what pictures Elaine has been shoving up, shall we? By the way, you can do this at home now. We're making this an international dance. And next year at the, what is that thing that they do at the Eurovision? Oh, the song contest. We're all going to get on stage, all of us, and we're going to do this. Anyway, here we go. So here we go. This is the first picture, and I've just got to find who it is. This is Elaine Brazier. I mentioned that the lovely Elaine Brazier, who's actually fallen asleep. Someone nudge her, will you? Someone get the old nudging pole out. Bash her over the head with that loofah sponge that Julia was using on me earlier. Elaine Brazier has been somewhere called Worth. Now, I don't know where Worth is. I was going to look that up, but I haven't had the moment's notice to do that because I was still trying to figure out the homework exercises, but never mind. Anyway, I imagine that must be somewhere near Dover because that's where the lovely Elaine Brazier lives and works and breathes and all the rest of it. But that's a lovely looking house with sort of Georgian-looking windows. And some sort of mausoleum, is it, in the foreground? Is that a pond in front there? Anyway, wherever it is, it looks absolutely delightful. Thank you very much for shoving that our way. And then she's been out, she says, for Anne Osborne, she's done this. She's been out on the Poppy Trail, taking photographs. I think that's a field of wheat. And on the very verge, they allow, you know, the wild flowers to grow. There's some yellow something. Let's call them spriggle sprogs, because we don't know what they are. But the poppies, look at those lovely poppies. They look absolutely, they're very popular this time of year as well. I don't know if that's true, actually. I don't know when poppies come out. But anyway, well done to Elaine. Now, this is Colin Brown. Well done, Colin. And he's been flying his drone. He says, because we were talking about Arundel the other day, he said, here we go. Look at this. This is Arundel Castle from the sky. This is a fantastic... I don't know how you managed to get those colours to look so vibrant, but they do really look great. Very, very impressed. So well done to you, Colin. Now, oh yeah, Martin Snow mentioned this, but also Teresa Dennis has been to the Corpus Christi today, where they've been laying flowers on the floor. Now, this looks very magnificent. It looks incredible. All these are different types of flowers that have been laid out there. Now, Martin was explaining this to me, and he said that they shoved some flowers on the floor in the cathedral at Arundel, and then the bishop goes traipsing over them. Well, when he mentioned it like that, of course, I didn't really appreciate that the flowers were in a particularly beautiful design. I just thought they'd had roses and daffodils and a few pansies had been scattered on the ground, and the bishop was marching up and down in hobnail boots. That was the image that I got. Otherwise, I would have hot-footed there myself. But luckily, Teresa Dennis has been up there and taken some fantastic pictures. Steve Pilfold is testing everybody to say, where in Sussex is this? And I looked at this picture and I immediately thought, well, this looks like Rye to me. And I think it is Rye. I have a wry smile to think it is. I recognise that little lane. And the reason is that some time ago I made a video, Bald Explorer video, in Rye and around the Romney Marshes. And it looks absolutely divine. And we went to is it the Mermaid? The Mermaid Inn? I think it was the Mermaid. I can't remember the name of the pub. I think it's at the other end of that little alley. Or at least one like it. If I've got it wrong, Steve, let me know. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, this is pretty incredible. Linda Kane. Look at this. Linda Kane. Oh, hang on. I've got to put it up, of course. It does help. There we go. This is obviously a sky picture. Yes, a sky picture. And it's a night time. The sun is setting. But what's incredible, it's at Bude. It's somewhere in Sussex. Bude is. I think down on the south coast somewhere. And it's part of the sky is reflected in what do you call it? The thing on the sunroof. The sunroof of a Mini. Just look at that. If you can see, you can basically just about make out where the edge, where perhaps the front of the Mini is. It's that sort of line that goes on about halfway down on the right-hand side, and then the rest is reflected. But it's a staggering picture. Absolutely love it. So well done to you, Linda Kane. So there we go. Isn't that marvellous? I think that's absolutely marvellous. Maggie Walters says, I think the latest idea for the farmers is for them to plant long strips of wildflowers along the crops to encourage bugs to stay off the crops and prevent the use of nasty pesticides, so that they're on the verges or on the edges of the field. And I think that's a very good thing. Steve Pilford says, on the steps of what? On the steps of the Nile? Not quite sure what he's talking about. Yes, the Mermaid, says Tom Crawford. I interviewed the landlady of the Mermaid some years ago now. I don't know if it's the same people. Very delightful lady, and she showed us down through this a mysterious doorway into a secret compartment where they used to hide the contraband at the Mermaid Inn in whatever the name of that road is. What's the name of that road? Oh, Bewders in Cornwall. I knew it was on the south somewhere, but thank you very much, Alan. That's very kind of you. Nikki Jess says, Mark, say hello to Richard and Julia. Thank you, Nikki. Hello to Richard. Hello, Julia. Oh, no, she's not here. I think she's at home. Linda Kane says, thank you, sir. Richard Suggers, I agree, Maggie. I don't know what he's agreeing to, but he's agreeing to something. And Steve Polford says, I thought O was for orders, powers and roots. O. Orders, powers and roots. I'm not quite sure what he's talking about. But anyway, there we are. That doesn't mean that it's not valid. So, all right. So we've done that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what else have we... Oh, talking of interesting things and unusual things, Martin Snow and his very nice friend John Nutley, who is an ex-vicar, have arranged for me to go and do a video, an interesting video, at the Church of the English Martyrs in Goring. Now, that name might mean nothing to you, and the reason that might mean nothing to you is you may not have heard about it, but in the 1980s, towards the end of the 1980s, a chap whose name now escapes me, it must be in here somewhere, can't remember, had decided that he would paint a replica of the Sistine Chapel on the roof of the church in Goring. It took him about 5 years to do this. There's a whole complicated story. I'm just looking forward to see where the main photograph is. And he recreated the Sistine Chapel. You know the one, is it Michelangelo who drew that? Here we go. This old nonsense. It's not really nonsense. There we go. Look at that. And he has replicated this. This is only one part of it. It's a huge, massive thing. So I want to get the story. I think it was Gary Bevins, that's right, in 1987. He was a parishioner. He went on a parish pilgrimage, it says here, to Rome, was enthralled by the Sistine Chapel, which was then undergoing restoration. He returned home with a strong desire to reproduce the ceiling in his church. You know, as you do. So Father Ender and some of the parishioners were enthusiastic about the project, and permission was then sought from the bishop. And it took so much time, as I say, about 5 years. And there's a whole story connected with it. You can get this lovely little book, A Brief History of the Church of the English Martyrs, Goring by Sea, and read all about it, basically. So we're going to go there and interview a lady who knows the whole story and try and take some pictures and try and sort of give you an idea. For those people who can't get there but who are also in awe of the Sistine Chapel, which is an amazing place. I haven't actually been to the Sistine Chapel at all. I have been to a room that has a cistern in it and a funny flushing thing, but that's a completely different ball game, so apologies for that. So we've got that on the pipeline. So there we go. What else are we going to be talking about? Oh, yeah, done that one, yes. So, oh, yeah. So now I have booked this. I did mention this the other day. Hang on, here we go. I'm staying here in the Forest of Dean, ladies and gentlemen. I'm staying here. This is a gypsy caravan. You can see the lovely sort of shed thing, I believe, is the toilet there. And it's right on the edge of the Forest of Dean, or right in the middle of it somewhere, near to the Wye Valley. I can't remember the name of the village at the moment. It's in a delightful village on quite a large plot of land. And then this is a tiny little area where you can stay. It's for one person or a couple, you know. And I think it would be very lovely to stay there. But I'm on my own, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be staying there on my own from the 25th to the 28th. For 3 nights, I'm going to be staying there. And each morning, I'm hoping that we have some beautiful weather. I should go off and do an early morning walk. And then come back for breakfast, and then I should go off and record The Naked Englishman, which I won't actually do naked. I'm not like Richard Suggett and does the naked gardener thing, but it's behind the scenes of the Vobes, and the people who have been supporters of the Bald Explorer and the Vobe show. The patrons of Vobes, as I call it, will get these extra bits and pieces. I will go out for a main walk. Some of it will mainly be driving and looking at the legends and the myths of the Forest of Dean, looking at the old iron industry and the charcoal burners and some of the lakes in there. Hopefully go and visit Tintern Abbey, which is down there. There's a whole load of interesting things to look at. Of course, it's a great holiday destination. You get a lot of people doing what do they call it? Outdoor backpacking and adventure stuff. I'm not so much interested in that. I want to look at the trees. I want to look at the legends, and I want to look at the myths. And of course, some of the villages and the architecture. I want to get down by the River Wye. In the Wye Valley, and have a look at that. But if anybody knows any places and it has any sort of recommendations, that's the word I'm looking for my trip, which is at the end of June. It's coming up fairly soon. The end of June's coming up soon. If anybody's got any sort of ideas or suggestions, please send them to me. richard@vobes.com is my email address. Georgie tends to know it better than I do.
You're listening to Richard Vobes.
Yeah, not that one.
Send an email to richard@vobes.com.
That's the thing. So, if anybody knows, has got some interesting thoughts and can nudge me in a direction, then I would love to, take your direction as well and go to somewhere that you think would be great and make a little exploring video while I'm there in the Forest of Dean, which would be great. So there we go. Do that. I'm just scanning to see if anybody's got any suggestions. Obviously not, but send them by email, which would be the best way to do that. But it does look like it's going to be a lovely thing. Now, a few people, I haven't actually asked for any money for this particular one. I put a post on the Bald Explorer group page and just said if you want to support it. I can tell you it costs me, I'll be completely honest with you, it costs £38 to stay each night in that lovely little gypsy caravan. I hope they're going to be nice nights like we've had recently, rather than horrible wet, cold, rain, miserable, snowy ones. So that's 3 nights. I think it's something like £130 it's going to cost to actually do that, plus a bit of petrol, plus a bit of food. So, if anybody wants to help out, or if somebody would like the behind the scenes, because in that picture, have a look at this picture again. My thoughts is that in the evenings, I will probably be, I will try and do a show. There's no internet there as such, but I'm hoping there'll be some 4G. Now, if there isn't, it just means I go off the grid, and perhaps the lovely Julia will have to carry on the show here. She'll have to come in and hold the fort, or just, I don't know, do a sand dance or something. And anyway, but if I can get online and brief you how it is and do a sort of little chat to you from that area, I think that would just look very nice. And if I can't get online, I'll still do this sort of behind the scenes little videos. That's the plan. And then put them up as and when I can. I will have my modem with me. So it may mean I have to go into wherever there's a signal or into an internet cafe or something like that. But somehow I'll upload something. It's got to be possible. So that you can keep up and some stories, and so you can follow my adventures. Of course, if you're a patron, then of course you'll get all of this first hand. And so if you want to be a patron, I just want to show you how you can. Where's the captions gone? Here we go. So if you want to help out, it's entirely up to you. There are different methods of helping out. If you go to baldexplorer.com for the moment, /support, because this is essentially a Bald Explorer thing as opposed to the Vobe show, although, we'll see how it goes. You'll see that there's different ways that you can support the Bald Explorer. You can become a patron of Vobes, a Bald Explorer patron, however you want to call it. Somebody has asked me, what is the best method? Should I use PayPal or should I use Patreon? For those that don't know, Patreon is one of these crowdfunding type things that you join up, have an account, and if you've got your favourite, I don't know, artist of some description, whether it's a poet or a singer or a YouTuber or a podcaster or whoever, you can support them on a monthly basis, and they deal with all the money side. You pay them and they pay the person. That's one way of doing it, but not everybody wants to sort of do that. Some people would prefer to just donate directly, and so they can do that. Some people want to make a one-off payment. Some people will become a patron and do a monthly thing through PayPal. So I'm just interested what you think is your preferred method. If you're interested in helping out, or if you do support other artists and content creators, if you do support them, be interesting to know how you do it, what method you prefer. Patreon for me, it's good, but I actually because I don't deliver my goods, as it were, through the Patreon website, because people do like PayPal, I just deliver everything on an email. I think that for me, what works best is if I have an email list of those people who are supporting me, and I can then just send out the videos, the podcasts and photos and any extras, all of that kind of stuff on an email. It's easier for me to control than these other systems. But you may disagree. You may say, no, we would much rather use this other system. So if that's you, then do try it. Teresa Dennis says, can you please do Cokham in Sussex, please, and Sullington? Yes, I have been up to Sullington. Go to YouTube. I know it's on YouTube for definite. Sullington. Put in Sullington and Bald Explorer, and that one will come up. Cokham, haven't done that one. We'll have to do that. Steve Pilford says, I used to do my GCSE grammar revision in a tent. Put me off camping, so I'm now past tense. Da-dum-dum. Very good. I like PayPal, says Maggie Walters. Yes, I mean, I do prefer PayPal myself. Malcolm Glazer says, pay for our pal. Yeah, there we go. That's the way to think of it. Me being presumably the pal. Elaine says, we can have a party. Yeah, well, of course. Should I don't know what you're talking about, if anyone has a party. If anybody's up in the Forest of Dean Way, in that area, on the 25th to the 28th, and wants to have a bit of a meet-up, then let me know, because I shall be sitting there as Billy No Mate, sitting in my gypsy caravan, and feeling very sad and sorry for myself, no doubt, in the middle of nothing, with just the countryside smells and the countryside sounds and the rooks coming round and the pterodactyls and all of that sort of stuff, the hogs, and no doubt the wild boar and rustling through there, perhaps the odd bear and a few wolves. I dare say there are wolves in the Forest of Dean. So I shall be feeling pretty, lonely and on my own, on my todsome. So if anybody fancies, meeting up, then do let me know. That would be great. So that's that. What are we doing time-wise? We've only got 7 minutes to go. It's amazing how it all goes. So yeah, if you're interested in supporting that, here we are. Just one more time. There it is. It's all very nice and very easy. Sorry, just had to have a quick glass of water. The old throat's a bit dry this evening. Earlier today, when I have to say, when the lovely Julia and I went over to Claire Leach's house and we picked up all this wood and stuff, we came back on the seafront back towards Worthing, and we went past the Beacon Mill at Rottingdean. Beautiful, a beautiful smock mill. And it's a lovely mill. I said, look, come on, let's go and have a walk up there and a look. And we had Julia's son, Elijah, so we gave him a bit of a run around, because he was very patient with us sitting in the car. Very lovely little chap. And so we went up to the mill and we had a look around. Couldn't go in the mill, unfortunately, which was a bit of a shame. But it was huge. It's a beautiful, very impressive mill. Then I said, oh, come on, let's have a bit of a stroll, because, the mill is actually quite close to the road. It's not very far. So we went for a bit of a stroll. And, of course, I'm a big kid. Anybody who's been to the meet-up, in fact, Claire Leach said, that I was a bit mad. I'd gone a bit bonkers at the meet-up in Bramber for some reason. I can't work it. So I'm a big kid. So, you see a little 7-year-old Elijah. So we were running about, mucking around, to give lovely Julia a bit of a break from, doing the old motherhood thing. So I was trying to wear the little kiddie out, and there were these benches, these nice little benches. You could jump on these benches. They were sort of viewing bench, you sit your big fat hairy bottoms on them, and you could look out to sea over the cliffs. So, but we were jumping up on these and chasing each other around and just having a bit of a laugh, try and wear him out a bit. And in doing that process, I kept pretending to fall off. I kept, falling, as you do. He was like pushing me, and I would go, "Whoa!" like that. All very silly. Well, one time I just happened to fall in an awkward place and bashed my rib. And I've got this, I don't think there's any bruising. I haven't actually looked at it. But by golly, it's very, very painful. So painful, in fact, that I very nearly didn't do the show. I didn't think I could move. But the thing about it is, bruises on the ribs. You've got to just keep moving, keep the muscles working. So tomorrow, when I wake up, no doubt, I'll probably wake up in agony. And I'm saying this because I want sympathy from everybody. I want you all to rush out and get some hankies and start, weeping up and go, "Oh, the poor old Vobes is injured. We nearly lost him. He nearly died." Yes, it was near death, ladies and gentlemen. It was very close to death. I just bashed it mustn't do that, in an awkward fashion. So I'm now sort of doing all these stretches and things, and trying to get rid of the pain. But I can tell you, and TLJ, the lovely Julia, kept saying, "Richard, why don't you..." Because, she's a very concerned mother, and she got in her mothering thing. She said, "Ibuprofen, have some ibuprofen." I said, "Oh, I'll be all right." She said, "Oh, typical man, she said, "have some ibuprofen." I said, "No, I don't need pills or anything like that." And now, of course, I'm regretting it. I should have had a little bit of ibuprofen or something. And I said, "Oh, don't worry, Julia, I've got them at home." And so off I trotted. And, of course, I haven't got them at home at all. So a little bruising there, I feel, will happen. But anyway, it was all in a good cause, and hopefully, and actually, as we drove back, little Elijah nodded off. He nodded off in the car. So that was all good. So there we go. So that killed another 3 minutes, and we've only got 3 minutes left. So I've done that. I've done the thing. This weekend, I shall be going up to see the lovely Harriet. Now, for those of you who don't know, and I've been banging on about this for a while, but actually, you may be wondering, where's Harriet these days? We haven't seen little Lola, little Lola, the long-haired, what do you call it, miniature Dachshund. We haven't seen little Lola, and the reason is, of course, sad, really, but Harriet and I have split up. We've been split up now for about 2 months, I imagine. It's quite some time, but not with any animosity. We just, because she lives 230 miles away, and we've been doing this. I've been driving up there this trip for about 10 years now. So we sort of realised that actually, now that I'm a granddad, yes, I'm sorry to say, a granddad, ladies and gentlemen, a granddad. I hate to say it because it makes me sound old. And as you know, I'm still in my early 30s. So, has my nose got a bit bigger? I think it has. Anyway, so we sort of agreed that it couldn't go on, and the show has become all enveloping, and now I'm doing the live shows every night and all the rest of it. I've got my head down and working to grow the channel. We've nearly been a year, and we just thought, well, it's not going to go. So, but we still want to be friends. So this weekend, I'm going up there for the weekend, separate rooms, of course. But I'm very excited because Harriet is has booked a trip in the Shrewsbury prison. Yeah, I think she wants to lock me up. I think that's what it is. She sort of goes, "Yes, for all your past misdemeanours, we're going to bung you in the Georgian part of the prison." And I think I explained the other day that it's a Victorian prison on a hill, but it was built on an earlier Georgian prison. But and so now they've opened that up, they've made it safe, and they're offering tours inside. She's booked a tour, and we're going to go and have a look at that. But unfortunately, I can't do a proper video. I might be able to do a little bit of filming with my GoPro and the gimbal and do a voiceover afterwards, which is probably what I'm planning to do. But I also hope that at least if Harriet doesn't want to appear in them, I can get a couple of walks in to to keep the Shropshire lot who love that sort of thing, and in that part of the world, some interesting places. So fingers crossed that the weather is good and that we find some interesting locations. But so So that's that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I'm doing at the weekend. I've got to get to the weekend first. So Friday I'm out seeing Colin Brown, which is going to be, I'm very excited about that, Colin. So that's all very good. Steve Pilford says, note to self, don't start a fight with Emily. No, I suggest don't start any fights whatsoever. Cushty Phil says, fractured my rib a couple of years back. The pain was terrible for weeks. Don't like taking tablets, but I took them like sweets then. Yes, I mean, I've just bruised it. Ow, mustn't put my hand on it. I've just bruised it, and it's not so good. Elizabeth Houston says, got to you at last. Good luck with everything, Richard. It's nice to see you there, Elizabeth. Claire Leach has just joined. Claire, you've missed all the fun. We've been talking about you and your maths homework. Do you are wrestled too, says Andy Ash. I don't know what you're talking about that. I'm just having a quick flick back, ladies and gentlemen, because don't have an argument with Emily. I'm curious about what that conversation was. I coughed the muscles off my ribs once. Did you cough them off? You coughed the muscles off your ribs. How do you do that? Anyway, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. So, ladies and gentlemen, another show done and dusted. Thank you so much for coming along. Thank you for supporting it. Thanks for watching yesterday, if you did, in the thing. And thanks to Richard Suggett in his allotment. It's all been very good. So when you hear this music, it means another show has come to its weary end. Sore on the ribs, but ready for a nice cup of tea and a snooze at bedtime. Take care, one and all. Thank you so much for watching. It's been lovely to have you here. Again, of course, we'll see you tomorrow night for the last time until Monday. One more show, which will be fantastic. So, thanks for watching. It's been lovely. Enjoyed every moment of it. Probably flying solo again tomorrow, I'm sad to say. But there you go. That's life. Keep posting in the Board Explorer group and do recommend a friend. Until then, from me, Richard Vobes, lovely to see you. Bye for now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye.